Good morning. Right, I thought it was about time that I did a bit of a catch up on the stuff that I've done in the van. The last video I did really was the about anything like that was about the stove when I put that in, which is about a year ago now. And I've made a few alterations and a few other general changes in here, just to make it a little bit more livable. A lot of the stuff I actually do while I'm out, just faffing about, just passing the time sort of thing. So as far as the stove's concerned, I've put an aluminium plate at the top of the chimney flue there. This timber area, the ceiling was collecting, it's where the heat was collecting, and it was getting a little bit too hot for comfort. And that sheet, I've offset it by a couple of washers, so there is an air gap. You can't actually see it very well there, but there's an air gap between the two, and it seems to control it enough. I'm happy with it. I've done a similar thing on the back of the seat there. That drops into the back of the headrest slot there and just stops the back of the seat from charring. It doesn't do a lot, but it's more peace of mind than anything else. The stove itself is raised off the ground with about an inch gap underneath it. A lot of this is guesswork, and you sort of just have to make a few assumptions, but I've been quite lucky. It seems to have worked out quite well. Nothing gets hotter than it should do. The other thing is I use the Home Bargains fire logs. I've tried all sorts in there. I've even tried a bit of coal in there. But the trouble is with buying lumps of wood and lumps of timber and logs and everything is they're so inconsistent, and you can get all kind of like smokes and smells and all sorts from them. When I've used these, they've done pretty much the same thing every time I've used them. You know how long they're going to burn for and everything. So I've stuck with them. They're not. I mean, obviously they're a little bit more than probably normal wood and that, but it's not the end of the world. And I use those with. What I tend to do is I've got a bushcraft knife there, which I use to slice them up with. And as long as they're not too cold, you can fairly easily chop them into sort of 3s or 2s, depending on how long you want to burn for. If I chop one of those logs in half, I can get probably just under a couple of hours out of half of one of those, so I can sort of get just under 4 hours from a single. Well, probably about 3.5 hours, I'd say, out of a single log if I cut it up into 2. No biggie, but I bought myself a radio. It's been really handy because I use it when I'm out camping as well in the woods. It's good. It's good for background, but it's also handy just to keep an eye on what's going off in the world, because I don't follow the news on the television and that, and you listen to a bit of Radio 4 and it keeps you just up on what seems to be going on out there. What else we got? I've mounted my tablet on the roof there. Hold up and down. Sorry, I've got a torch in my mouth. That folds up and down, and what it means is I did have it mounted on the ceiling before, but it was pretty much a single person view sort of thing. So now, because it's up there, it means that if there's a couple of you in here, we can both sit down on the bed and watch the television quite comfortably. Makes it it's quite, I'll be honest with you, in here is about the best viewing experience for watching a film, because of the lack of interruptions and that, and especially if you've got your headphones on and that, because you're in a different world. Even I think it's even better than a cinema. I know that you might think I'm mental, but you've got no one coughing, spluttering, using the phone or anything in here. It's just you and the film. Do you know what I mean? But it sounds a bit mental, I know. So another thing I've done is I've added a CO meter there, which I've got up as high as I possibly can. It's also got the temperature on there. We're running at 20 there, which is reasonably comfortable. Sometimes I like to crank it up to about 33. But whether it depends whether you're prepared to sit there in your pants or not. Just to the left of that, I've fitted a floodlight. You probably see it burning out there, but it helps me light the rest of the van for when I'm filming here. Because the trouble is with the walls being all sort of dark timber. It's not very reflective in here, so you don't get the light. It doesn't do. You need quite a lot of light to light it up, if you see what I mean. So I'm just running that off a basic switch off my leisure battery off the back there, so that it doesn't drain anything down. Mirror there, you can see my legs. And that, I don't think I've done anything else. Did I say about the floor? I put wooden floor in there. It's I've had carpet in here since sort of the year dot, and it's just got wetter and wetter and dirtier, and I eventually decided to put a ply floor in there. I split it into two halves, front and back. It's difficult to see properly, but it seems to work. The only thing is I did stain it with Dutch oil originally. I was hoping that was going to be enough, but it looks like it's picking up the dirt a little bit, so it perhaps would have been a better idea to varnish it instead, but you live and learn. And I've got mats on top of that, just a runner mat, which I can just take out and bat out when I want. So that's a bit of a update video about my heating system and a few other bits and bobs. Sorry it was a bit of a thrown together bodge, but sometimes it has to be. I will say that it's probably the best decision I made. I was concerned when I was buying it and when I was going to put any heating in at all, that the amount of space that it was going to take up wasn't going to be countered by the benefit I got from it, but it definitely has. You soon get used to it being there, and I've got plenty of room in here to do what I need to do. I can still fit someone else if someone else wants to sleep in here. It's usually me that ends up sleeping on the floor, if I'm honest, but you can get someone on the bed and someone on the floor, and there's still room for the stove, so it's not intruded as much as I thought it would. But the heat is just fantastic, and it's a nice dry heat, and there's something quite rustic about having a real fire burning in there instead of, you know, some diesel heater or gas heater. Not slagging diesel and gas off, because I think they're very convenient and it's horses for courses, but for me this is I like this, and this will do. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, that's how a guy can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life.